My name is Dr. Richard Allen Williams. I'm a cardiologist, and I'm on the faculty at UCLA School of Medicine, where I've been for 45 years. I want to take you back to the year 1982, when I received a call from LAPD Chief Darryl Gates, which surprised me. Chief Gates was a very forceful and aggressive police chief. He actually established what one might think of as a militarized police department. So on weekends in particular, he would send 500 or 1,000 people into specific sites of LA, and the police would simply descend upon these people who were out in the street at night and start mass arrests, bring them in, and lock them up.
Aggressive doesn't mean the use of force. Aggressive means that we move into crime situations and deal with them.
I don't know where he got my number from, but in any event, he said, "I'd like to discuss a very delicate medical matter with you." Chief Gates asked me if I could verify the fact, or according to him, the fact that African Americans were very susceptible to chokeholds because they had an anatomical defect in their necks. And so he was suggesting that blacks were not normal in regards to their neck anatomy, and that therefore it was their fault that they were dying, not the fault of the police. And he wanted to know if I would agree with him. And I told him, "No, Chief Gates, I don't agree with that. I think that this is something that cannot defend. The real reason is that there were more chokeholds being applied to blacks." Over a period of a few months, 16 men who were taken into police custody died from chokeholds, and 12 of those were African American or black. There was a good deal of controversy in the city about this at that time. Well, there actually were two chokeholds. There was one that was called the P.A.R. hold, and then there was the carotid chokehold, which reduced the blood flow to the brain and caused the individual to pass out and die.
And when these holds are applied properly, it is our feeling that they are not life-threatening holds.
Ultimately, the LA Police Commission decided to eliminate all chokeholds in the city of Los Angeles. And that's where it is today. In California, there's an assembly bill which is pending right now. If that passes then and is signed, then the chokehold will no longer exist throughout California. But that's just one state. George Floyd died from a chokehold with a knee to his neck from the police. And there was also the case of Eric Garner in New York City in 2014, where the chokehold was applied. We are able to see racism live and up close, and this should propel us to do something definitive at this point, finally, to eradicate that. I think elimination of the chokehold is the first step in that process.
Now, the last individual I'm going to talk about is the infamous, the well-publicized police chief of the LAPD, who went by the name of Chief Darryl Gates. And we know Daryl Gates by being the innovative, aggressive police chief that used to have a term called drop the hammer. He would bulldoze foundational Black American homes, and he is known to be one of the key parties in creating a militarized police force, adding a cutting edge unit, I believe in the late 70s, early 80s, called the SWAT. And the SWAT, was primarily used to deal with foundational Black Americans during the crack epidemic, high crime, etc., etc. This show is not about all that, so we're not gonna get on that. LAPD Chief Darryl Gates made a call to a cardiologist by the name of Dr. Richard Allen. Now, I played this clip. Now, the Dr. Richard Allen was talking about Chief Darryl Gates wanted him to corroborate his theory that black people were dying from chokeholds because they were different than regular people, which is basically a racist pseudo science that the police chief was trying to get a cardiologist to corroborate, to give evidence of why the chokehold needed to be training and policy of the LAPD. And eventually the chokehold was eliminated because you clearly see that the LAPD was just killing black folk, and they had a code. The code was, I suspected that this black person was high off of PCP. And because they're high off of PCP, they become super strong, and there was no way that I could apprehend or arrest this individual without applying the deadly chokehold that we know killing black folk. Now, the funny thing about the chokehold, it was removed from an option of the LAPD eventually throughout the United States because everybody was killing black folk with the chokehold. Well, most police unit has suspected race soldiers applying this chokehold on people classified as black. So this thing was removed. So the alternative to the chokehold was these metal batons. And the metal baton method was, if you can't get the person to cooperate, or if you can't get the black person to cooperate, then you can use a pain method, meaning hit the limbs, and if they don't cooperate with you or obey your commands, then you just beat them till you break limbs. And this is the defense of the 4 officers that were accused of excessive force against Rodney King. And their defense was the chokehold would have prevented us from using the pain threshold method, meaning if you can't get them to comply, we're going to hit you with the stun gun. We suspect you on PCP. You're superhuman strong, so you're super Negro. So we're going to beat you down. And the only thing else that we can do, because we suspect that you on PCP and you the super strong Negro and you not responding to the beating like we think you should, we finna shoot you and take you off the planet. Fear for my life. Unarmed. And their thing was, no, this was said in the courtroom by, I believe, Sergeant Kuhn. They asked him, did Rodney King have any weapons? And Sergeant Kuhn's response was, yes, he did. He did have a weapon. The question then was, well, what weapon did he have? Because Rodney King was unarmed. I suspected his body was his weapon. We suspected he was on PCP. See, that code was being used in the 70s, and they were still using that code in the 90s. The super Negro codification of suspected race soldiers. That's why I had to kill him. Race soldier. So this is why Police Chief Darryl Gates was calling the cardiologist, Dr. Richard Allen, talking about some, man, black folk dying from the chokehold because they different and they black and they biology is not the same as regular people, meaning white folks. No, you ain't choking out white folks. That's why white folks ain't dying like black folks. You're practicing racism, white supremacy. You got race soldiers in your ranks. You understand me? Not police officers. Race soldiers. So to make a long story short, we're not gonna drag this on out. I played a couple of clips. You can research those clips. This is basically just an episode where I am citing sources, and I would hope that you would be inclined to research and follow up on some of these stories that I have illuminated within this episode. It's just a refresher. You know, we find ourselves repeating ourselves all the time. Those of us who produce counter-racist content, and that's all that programming is a repetitive codes. And when discussing police brutality, understand that term is confusing. Ain't no such thing as police brutality. Now, you got suspected race soldiers pretending to be police. Mistreating people who are subject to non-white classification, in particular black classification. And you have police officers, in most cases, who attempt to report these suspected race soldiers. But from my research, there is no protection for police officers within domestic law enforcement. Every time you see a police officer speaking up, every time you see a judge speaking up or not allowing race soldiers to run free within domestic law enforcement, these are the very people that wind up getting taken off the planet. Prime example is the last clip that I played. And I specifically played the clip of LAPD detective Mark Furman during the OJ trial. Lead detective who found the bloody glove. Lead detective who found the drops of blood, and the Bronco lead detective who found the blood on the sock of O.J. Simpson within his house. Known, self-proclaimed Nazi Germany collector. Known, self-proclaimed anti-black practitioner. Because this LAPD race soldier pretending to be a police officer was putting in so much race soldier work till he felt free to have himself taped on how he mistreats, terrorizes, beats up, and kills non-white people, in particular black people. He bragged about how he would beat down black suspects. Anything out of niggas' mouth, it's his words, not mine, is a lie. So it don't matter what they say. He bragged about planting evidence. He bragged about manipulating evidence. He bragged about breaking all constitutional rights and civil rights of people classified as black. He talked bad about black colleagues, talking about they ain't about nothing. He talked bad about the ACL, the NAACP, anything that had color in it, he had a problem with. Race soldier, white supremacist. Talking about if he could line all the niggas up and bomb them and shoot them, he'd do it. This is the lead detective on the O.J. Simpson trial. For all fellow victims who running around and repeating this, O.J. did it. Chant or cheerlead that the mainstream media has put up down y'all throats. Please take it upon yourself to research. Confirmed race soldier Mark Furman, the only one convicted of a crime in the O.J. Simpson trial of perjury in line. Talking about something, I pled the fifth because I didn't want to incriminate myself. Well, God dog it, if you want to incriminate yourself, all I got to say is he pled no contest to perjury. 3 months, I believe 3 years probation, something like that, slap on the wrist. Now this fool working on Fox News, making millions of dollars, and OJ just got his behind out of jail a year or two ago, something like that. On some trumped up kidnapping charges. But this episode is not about that. But LAPD, don't matter about what police department it is, you have a race soldier problem. Race soldiers seem to be protected, and anybody who speaks against race soldier practitioners within the police department systematically gets neutralized. Now that's either true or it's not true. And this is People Activity Radio, and I'm your host, John G. Horse. and I hope to have contributed to less confusion. And always remember, keep learning, and stay codified.
Economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. If you do not understand racism, which is white supremacy, what it is and how it works, everything else that you understand will only confuse you. Confuse you. Confuse you. Confuse you. Confuse you. If you do not understand, confuse you. If you do not understand, confuse you. If you do not understand, confuse you. Confuse you.
My definition of white supremacy and racism, I use those two terms as synonyms. I use the same definition for both terms. That definition is as follows: a global system of people who classify themselves as white and are dedicated to abusing and or subjugating everyone in the known universe whom they classify as not white.
Economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war.